What's up, guys? It's Ilham, and you are tuned in to Rolling Out.
Hey, Rolling Out family, welcome to Rolling Out Music. I'm your host, Eddie Precise Lamar. Today we're joined by alternative pop and R&B singer-songwriter Ilham. The Queensbridge, New York-born Moroccan-American artist is stepping into a new era with her long-awaited EP dropping September 19th. The 10-track collection is a mindset about letting go, protecting your peace, and standing in your strength. We're excited to dig into her journey, her sound, and what this project means for her and for the culture. Ilham, welcome. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to speak with you and so very welcome. So, I'm okay. Your EP feels like a whole philosophy. Can you break down the mindset behind the project and why it was important for you to share it now?
I'm okay just represents like a mindset that people will naturally grow into when they're just tired. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, eventually in life, and when you go through things, and it's not just in like the music space, it could be like you could be a teacher. Eventually, sometimes you just gotta let things roll off your back and look at someone, look at a situation and be like, okay, and keep it pushing, keep it rolling. So that's the whole mindset.
Yes, yes. So the single For Me with Friday blends pop, R&B.
Ooh, I like how you kind of sang it.
Yeah, yeah, it's dope. First of all, this is my favorite track. So it blends R&B, house, beautifully. How did that collaboration come about? And what was it like working with someone who's both a producer and a close friend? And before you answer that, again, this is my favorite track. I feel like it needs to be longer. Like, here, take this in for instance. If you do like a 90s style 12-inch remix, it'll be so dope, like a dance remix. But anyway, back to the
Okay.
question. Anyway, back to the question. So what was it like, doing this song with such a close friend and a producer?
It was so natural. There's a funny story behind it. The original producer that started this record was an incredible guy named Deputy. And this is when I just had left my label and I had become independent. And I was about to jump into the session. And then Deputy was like, yeah, also, you need to bring your own engineer because I don't engineer anymore. And I'm like, what? But like, you got your plaques and shit. So, like, of course, I was like, okay, well, we have no budget. So, who do I bring as an engineer? So, my friend Lita, she's an amazing artist, but she's an incredible writer. She was like, I mean, I can do it. Like, let's figure it out. And then Friday saw us kind of stressing out. And he's like, I mean, don't tell him I'm coming, but like, I'll engineer for you. And we just thought it was funny because he had just like had that big moment. We had this record for a minute, by the way, but he had just had an incredible moment with Jay-Z and whatnot at the Grammys. So we just thought it was funny because he walked into the session like, yeah, I'm her engineer for today. And that's kind of how he jumped on the song. Like he was engineering me. And then I was like, oh, like you should jump on the second verse. And yeah, it was a really easy song to me.
Yeah, that worked out for you in your benefit.
Yeah.
For
Shout out
sure.
to him for being so down because, like ego's a big thing in this industry too. I mean, I have it, everybody has it. So I'm just happy that he was like, I'll do it, because he could have been like, I'm an artist, the fuck. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's a blessing to be able to work with somebody that you already get along with.
Hmm.
You don't have to tap in and feel like you got to find something to be in common with that person. So that definitely worked out in your favor, and you created a great record from it. So again, it's my
Thank
favorite.
you. Thank you. That means
Welcome,
a
welcome.
lot.
Oh, you're welcome. Last summer you announced your independence after a 2-year hiatus. How's it been being fully independent? How's it reshaped your creative process and your career?
Well, a lot of people will say the word hiatus, and yeah, like outside looking in, like it looked like I just took a break, but it wasn't a break. It was a lot of like going back and forth, trying to get out of contracts, like getting back into the studio, maybe not necessarily like jumping in and starting to create, but rather like healing, like unlearning a bunch of shit that. Am I allowed to curse? I know you guys are
Oh, go
recording
right
this.
ahead. It's not a
Okay,
thing.
my bad.
We all grown. First of all, you too late, but we all grown in here.
Yeah. The hiatus for me, it felt like every day I was working towards something, whether it was getting out of a situation, whether it was getting out of my own head or building a body of work. But being independent taught me A couple things. The most important thing it taught me, and I wish every artist and every one of my peers would understand. And what I mean by that, it's not necessarily advice for, because I'm a nerd, I would always watch interviews, and like my favorite question was, do you have any advice for like, like aspiring artists? And I
Hmm.
was like in the projects, like, that's me. What advice do they give? And artists would say something like, believe in yourself. And you're like, what the hell? So my advice is more geared towards not necessarily artists that are aspiring, but rather artists that are in that middle point where it's like they do have buzzing records. They are around, the right people. They are in the mix and they do have a tiny fan base, but it's like they're right there, but they're not broken yet. So my artist is for that, the up
Hmm.
and coming artist. And it would be like the power really isn't with your hands. Like it's on you as an artist. And for the longest time, especially like growing up in the environment that I did grow up in, like I really did think that somebody would manage me or like I would get signed and then boom, like I'm a star and I get my parents out the projects and now we have a mansion and and that's amazing. That will happen, but it doesn't work like that. At least my cards haven't been dealt like that. The power really is within you. And I realized that when I became independent, made a song called I'm Okay, and I called up, my distribution team who became my family at Orchard, said, hey, we're dropping this in 2 weeks. And they didn't second guess it. They said, oh, okay, like let's do it. And it's like that's the mentality I developed into such a confident and more like reassured, like self-assured person, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you're independent. Like it's like you have to do this on your own. Like you have to wake up, and that's how it always is, even when you are signed. And that's why a lot of artists get signed and they kind of like quote unquote, I hate this word, but fall off. It's because they think that like this team of people is gonna work for you. And yeah, ideally they should, but at the end of the day, the power is in your court and like you are in the driver's seat and you put somebody else in that driver's seat, it's not really gonna work out to your best favor.
I totally believe that because nobody is going to work harder for you if they don't see you working hard for yourself. Definitely.
Hmm.
I love the way that you claim your greatness and you know that great things are going to happen. And you touched on where you come from. So, as a Moroccan American artist from Queensbridge, how do you see your role in representing both your community and your culture on a global stage?
That's a really good question. Thank you. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like I have been a fan of music like my entire life, like ever since I was born. And I did not ever see myself in anyone, if that makes sense. Like
Mhm.
there is no representation. And I know like it's an uncomfortable statement to like hear or make, but that's really the reality of it. Like there is no quote unquote North African or brown girl that is like in the same stage as like right now. Like look at the artists like as a Sabrina Carpenter, as a Tyler, as a Tate McRae. Like there isn't that North African representation and it's needed. Like and on top of that, like there is no pop star R&B pop artist out of the projects. It's usually, like a rap artist, which we love, but it's like everything that I'm doing. Sometimes I do get frustrated because I'm just like, I wish I could see him. My team, I don't think they hate it, but like, I'm dramatic, but like they hate when I'm like, show me an artist that I can like, draw inspiration from and see, their blueprint and how they did it. But it's like there's no one for me to emulate because it hasn't been done.
Mhm.
So to me, I think that's also why I do this because my purpose is deeper than just making music. It's there are millions of little girls and boys that look like me, that have the same background as me, that grew up in whether they grew up in poverty and want to be pop stars or they are brown North African girls, it's like they need it. And I didn't realize how much I needed it until I stepped into this space and was like, oh damn, like outside of French Montana, there is nobody.
Right. And that's I was going to mention French, but like you said, he's not a young lady and he's not a pop star. So that representation is missing for sure. And you also mentioned I read that you do draw inspiration from legends like Aaliyah and Ashanti while also infusing your own heritage into your sound. How do these influences show up in this new project?
Ever since I was like a kid, I spent a lot of time in like my dad's car. Like he would drive me around and whatnot. So I am like a radio baby. Like whatever was being played on Hot 97, Z100, all of them stations like I was digesting and like listening to. And as a kid, like I always knew like I had this like it was obsessive. Like I would dead ass just like daydream. Like I would be in the park not playing, daydreaming that I was like an artist on a stage and I would like sing and stuff and I would do talent shows and I would win, but I was always frustrated with my voice. And this is just me being honest because I would listen to people like or in passing, I would hear people like Whitney Houston and Sade, and I'd be like, "Oh my God, like their voices are so rich and thick." And when you grow up in the projects, like I was also around, even though I'm Moroccan, reality is I was around a lot of like church babies and like,
Mhm.
people that grew up in that type of lifestyle and their voices were thick and strong. And I was always like, "Oh my gosh, how do I do that?" But it wasn't until I listened to Aaliyah and Ashanti, even like Maya, and I was like, "Oh wow, wow." Like their voices are similar to mine, and I found beauty in my vocal print. It's like your fingerprint.
Mhm.
And that's kind of like where you hear that inspiration in my music. Like, of course, we can say stacking and ad-libs and whatnot, but it's really just like feeling empowered in my own voice and understanding like this is my voice. And a lot of people, probably wish they had my voice. They pitched their shit up like a couple of keys up to like hit that. But yeah, I think it's more like when I hear somebody that sounded like me, I was like, oh, okay, I can really do it?
Yes, yes, 100%. With I'm okay, you're stepping into a new era. What do you want fans, both old and new, to take away from this project? And what's next for you after this release?
To take away from this project, I guess like when people listen to this project, I want them to be, even if it's for 2 minutes, like be whoever they want to be. I know that sounds very like cliche, but it's like my intentions, like when I made this project, was like it was all escapism, right? Because like even during the project, like again, like I was on this quote unquote hiatus. A girl was depressed trying to get out of contracts. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was a lot for me. So anytime I stepped into the studio, whether it was with Mom Brew, who's an incredible producer, Friday or Hossie or Lucid, it was more like, okay, when we get into the studio, we're not making sad songs, we're not making vibes, we're making records that like are going to heal people. So it's like, yeah, like if you are somebody that might be insecure or like going through a down phase of your life, I want you to throw on my records and feel like the baddest bitch in the world. Do you know what I'm saying? If you're
Yeah,
somebody that just went through a heartbreak, I want you to listen to one of my records and like romanticize your life instead of being like, it hurts because we've been through it. I want you to think, you know what? I cannot wait for the next person that could really love me correctly. It's all escapism and it's all like a mindset shift. And like I needed that mindset shift because I was the one that would like needed this music, if that makes sense.
yeah, you just said something that struck a chord with me. You said you wanted to create something that was healing. Why was it important for you to do that?
It was important for me to do that because I needed that. Like, how do I say it? I'm a very like expressive slash I'm a sad girl, I'm a Cancer and I feel a lot and I take things really personally, if that makes sense. So I so badly needed to make this type of music, if that makes sense. Like I was healing in the studio. Like a lot of people right now, after the success of I'm Okay, or even seeing, for an example, for me drop, a lot of producers that maybe didn't want to work with me because, when you're independent, the budget's not budgeting. But, a lot of them that didn't want to work with me and now are hitting me and whatnot. But what they don't understand is the producers I made this project with sat down sessions, days, weeks, just like cleaning up my brain, like allowing me to like speak and cry and eventually get to this sound. That's more like healing and it allowed me to escape into reality and essentially became my reality, which is a happier place. Am I making
Yeah.
sense?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's so I love that you recognize the power of what music can do and understand that it's a tool that can definitely heal. So I appreciate you for that. Elam, where can people find you on the internet?
Yes, you guys can find me everywhere at ILHAM. Yeah, Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud, Apple, YouTube, everywhere.
Elam, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, yes. Rolling Out Family, Elam's new EP, Okay, is dropping September 19th. It's a powerful reminder that strength is found in letting go and protecting your peace. Make sure you stream it, share it, and support it. This incredible voice who's carving out her own lane while representing Queensbridge and Morocco on the world stage. This is your man, Eddie Precise Lamar. And as I always say, stay focused, positive, and productive. Peace.